Father, we certainly thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come before you as we gather together to do this interview for our city manager. Lord, we just ask that it be productive, cohesive, and that your will would be done in the process as we bring our thoughts together, one together, all together, and that we do this in a productive manner that would be pleasing in your sight and be beneficial to our community, our citizens, and all that are here today. We thank you for the opportunity to have these individuals to sit before us with interest in our community, and we just pray and hope that everything will go according to your will. These and all other blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor, for the invocation. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Ross.
Present.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes, present.
Commissioner Biggs.
Present.
Commissioner Hill. Present. Vice Mayor Walker.
Present.
Interim City Manager Iverson.
Present.
City Clerk Commissioner here.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask, are the cameras on?
Yes.
Someone else got to be.
It's on, okay.
All right, any other questions, Commissioners? Before we invite Mr. Williamson in, since there being no other questions, Mrs. Washington, thank you very much.
Chandler Williamson.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for being here.
Arthur Iverson, interim city manager, Anita City Clerk, Commissioner Hill, Mayor Walks, Vice Mayor Walker, Commissioner Bass,
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, Mr. Williamson, thank you very much for taking an interest in our city and wanting to bring our city back on
for a conversation.
All right. Thank you very much. Commissioners, we all know protocol has been established. If you're ready, sir, we're ready. If any commissioner wants to address it before we get started, we can do that too as well. Since there's no commissioner who wants to address it before Mr. Chandler Williamson, before we get started,
Yeah, what we can do actually before we go into questions, just give them an opportunity to tell us something about themselves, and then we can go directly into the questions.
all right. Commissioner Babb would like for us to get started. We can giving us all a little bit of information about yourself.
Thank you. Glad to be pretty closely, but I've been very busy for the last couple of years doing some extensive research for university, specifically in local government management. So I'm probably about 6 months away from getting my PhD in public administration. Beyond that, I was mostly raised in the Carolinas. Did some traveling around after my undergrad degree and kind of settled in South Florida about 10 years ago, and spent some time with nonprofit and Florida Senate as chief of staff. And I find Florida to be a very interesting state. I find local government to be somewhat of a paradox to what I see around the country. Typically, Florida, because it's so many different dynamics and populations, you find that your problems has to be very diverse. And so through with the local state government, our approach to solve problems has always been very diverse. And I think that's when you live in a state like this, and you we have so many different cultures to address and so many avenues to go out solutions. I think that because some think traditionally one way, you come up with solutions that typically don't work in global society. Not Florida is a global society, one of the most diverse states in the nation. So I learned that over the years in local government, and as I worked in is that when you have that global approach to those communities, you tend to find solutions readily available to you and easy to versus when you beyond just the small end. So we're in a very mixed house here in Florida. Personally, it's good in South Florida and opportunity to come and see if I can make a difference for this community, for the residents.
Very much, Mr. Williamson, for that brief synopsis. Commissioner Biggs?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Williams. And again, I welcome you to Cahokia, and we're so happy to be a part of the city. The first question that's asking, describe any experience you have had in retaining business or attracting in your business.
Thank you. In my tenure with the Florida Senate, one of our responsibilities in this one was to encourage new economic in our local municipality, District 31. Very closely with the Department of Management of Florida to economic opportunities, particularly relocated businesses outside the state of Florida. And so what we try successfully is to leverage local opportunities with those cities versus this rates economic development as the availability of the workforce within that city. So what we try at the Florida Senate, build a portfolio for businesses to come in and invest in those cities, as well as offer them incentives to relocate. And when I talk about incentivizing, is there a workforce in that city? Is it conducive to transportation infrastructure, accessible for major airports? And so what the Department of Management and what the Florida Senate attempts to do as far as developing these partnerships with new businesses outside of Florida, businesses in Florida, develop a relationship with those local officials and understand the importance of partnership between and communities and cities. In that process, find yourself having to leverage the aspects of that community. Now, one fallback to a lot of the smaller cities is they don't have the infrastructure that attracts valuable companies to come in. When you talk about infrastructure, and the workforce, we at the Florida Legislature realized that was a hurdle to get over. So that to do and start looking at is the workforce itself and the preparation of employees. How do you community how do you prepare a community and sustain new organization companies coming in? Typically, like Cahokia, let's be frank, you're looking at infrastructure and development of new business. Look at that workforce. Are they ready to go to what type of workforce would it be? Would it be cultural? Would it be manufacturing? Would it be technical? Would it be STEM? So when we built the portfolio, all those aspects successfully. Southern part of Broward County was more proud of Broward County Beach before they moved to the district lines. Successful in leveraging over about different companies, come to Sunrise, Fort area, Margate, and over the course of 2 hours in the legislature, we probably for a workforce number, probably 1,216 individuals in about a 3-year span. That was manufacturing and shipping.
Okay, thank you. The next question would be, what is the best candidate for the job? What unique quality you possess that make you stand above the other applicants?
I had the opportunity to work in nonprofits, local government, state government. In that time, we built a core network of partnerships. And those partnerships, the appropriation for the state of Florida, the lower board, and certainly in this chamber. Those relationships are still vibrant. I've actually used those relationships recently. I had a discussion with the tourism from this area. And for me as an individual that's environment and work with board, Broward Legislative Board for Tallahassee, work with the board of Palm Beach. You have an individual before you that has cultivated those relationships and can tie relationship into what we need here. Typically, having an individual doesn't have to reinvent the wheel and begin those relationships. There's a seamless into outsiders being open to what you're trying to present. I feel that relationships that I've formed over the years can be a leverage for all. Recently, this interview took place. All of those are I spoke to Palm Beach County Director of Government Relations, who's a close associate of mine. I got ideas about Pahokee in this region. I spoke with the Department of Tourism of Tallahassee, the ideas about Pahokee. The Business Development Board, CEO Smallridge Beach, they got their ideas. I spoke with the Palm Beach Legislative Council, they got their ideas. Region of Pahokee. Those ships that are already fostered. I have a brand that is acceptable for Palm Beach, and it's easy to come in with some solutions, knowing that those relationships are already fostered, that they are acceptable. Leading someone with a face that they from. Now, I'm not trying to separate myself from this view that those relationships are important when you talk about leveraging, when you talk about community, economic development, or establishing higher workforce. You talk education, community, that's to be frank, is right now from 2013, there's about 58% those who have a high school diploma here. The age of 25, and we're on level. So there's a lot that needs to be done. But candidate for this position, trying to address comes seems more when you have those established already.
Good morning again, and welcome. Aspect of how you emphasize in promoting development?
That's a great question. I did some research, and I reached out to organizations specifically that economic development. And the recurring statement was a marine here in Pahokee, and understanding. I I think we have here an excellent opportunity to leverage ecotourism here for Pahokee. When you have the opportunities to some of the fallbacks that Pahokee has in community and high unemployment, you have there's an opportunity to build a outlet destination for tourism. The problem that he has is you have visitors on stage. Those are financial opportunities that leave Pahokee at it. So, from my standpoint, you have to leverage to keep ecotourism going. How do you maintain a pop of visitors to increase your tax base? And that goes into Undersea Marina presents tours. Okeechobee presents tours. I don't see any hotels here. And hotels fill coffee shops, businesses. And unfortunately, that hasn't been established in Pahokee. We need to look how to retain and how to make this region a destination away from West Palm Beach. Maybe we need to think about our brand. I've had the opportunity to look at your website. Some of the things that will attract new business, will attract tourists to here. The concept of branding in business that supports the structure of a city that is missing in Pahokee. And one of the I would have to do is understand what that looks like, what we should understand that brand should look like. Redraw and be very honest about where we are currently today and what brand of the city of Pahokee. Do we want a destination, or do we want to be a thoroughfare who come and leave by the end? It's all about, we need to rebrand it as a ecotourism, hotel stay, and development and economic investment. Before you answer that question, first I have to have that foundation. It exists, but there's so much more we can do. And there's small things like the branding of the web, the branding of the city. Why a hotel? Core industry believe we have the investment companies that want to build and build new business. How does that look like? What do new businesses build hotels? It's about brand. I can't answer that enough. The opportunity to look at this region, I drove through on my way here. And there's a difference between Pahokee, South Bay. There's a difference between Pahokee and West Palm Beach. Now, consider Pahokee and this area as frontier. There's no more development going on a large scale here. You have the greatest opportunity to bring in investment in companies, infrastructure, and tourism. And that's why I took the opportunity to the Department of Tourism out of town. And what are their ideas for the region. One of the most things was as a collective group, the enterprise zone conversation in front of our, that's because it builds a for businesses to come invest in Pahokee in this region. So that takes it takes down to Palm Beach County, talking to that legislation and let them take that message to Tallahassee. But the most important thing for that enterprise zone. We had conversations in front of the government legislatures, but they can appropriations into this region.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williamson, and also much for being here again, and interest in wanting to build Pahokee. My question to you is, using past experience, explain your philosophy of management, how often you review budget monitor reports, how often are such reports provided by line managers, senior staff, and elected officials?
Here's my question. What lifeline of your municipal government message comes from your mission and your vision for a city? And when you talk about, and I reviewed your we have to be honest about that we provide quality services, quantity services. Budgeting allows us public service to the community. So we have a responsibility in that budget process to talk to our to get this solution and understand what's our future and how does our budget support for the future. At my chamber for Lauderdale, we typically review budgets on a monthly basis. However, there was always an amendment to the budget. Because there's always, the budget was a document. And typically, was always conversation was always presenting this to the budget. On versus to the community, we would have to rearrange budget, rearrange allocation department to the next. So my experience there, understanding the general principles of accounting, we always request to the commission permission to make changes. And they were hard changes. But budgeting understanding first the commission's and gain that vision through their and then understanding each department priorities, personnel, and FTE. Besides that, for this city, challenge budget-wise, and if I had the opportunity, manager, we've got tough choices. That entails this commission being very honest. How can we, as a team, at the performance of last year, short and long range? That's how you build a budget. About the tax base, vision in long range. Think small to grow big. Possible to do with budgets. Most important, getting back to being honest with ourselves about it. We have to again economic development. Because conversation about budgets, but without economic development, the budget's going to look. So we have to go back to those opportunities I spoke. Delegation, the appropriations process out there. Infrastructure, waterway, highways, and roads. What builds this community, this economic, and then just those things. Our budget's going to.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williamson.
Welcome. Please share your background in general and the experiences you had that will assist you if you're as a city manager.
My background in general came to
please give us your background and the experience you had that will assist you if you're as our city manager.
My time with the Board of Legislature, I had the opportunity to work with city managers across the district. And one of the most aspects was bills. Serving with the legislative delegation and the legislative delegation, I had the opportunity to work some very caring managers. And from experience, I learned that responsibility as staff was their request for funding. My working directly with Lauderdale, I'm a director, had a short of understanding the budget process. And at that time, we were actually going, sinking of debt and shortening the budget across the. And the city of Fort Lauderdale, I had the opportunity to understand ways to manage a city of that size, shrinking budget. I had the opportunity to understand, working with those cities in that district, how to craft legislation and appropriations that would experience can be transferred here to this commission, to this city. And I think it's an opportunity to take advantage of an individual that can full picture, not just here in Pahokee, regionally and statewide. Those experiences with the city of Belton, those experiences before the Senate, those experiences working with most of cities, and that provided me an opportunity to have a clear looking glass to how to manage it from a standpoint of fiscal responsibility.
Mr. Lee, what is important in establishing working relations? What to you?
Your working positions, I strongly open door policy. You need individuals who are, one, not afraid of it, open to discussing community is key. Being noticed. I strongly believe that as an executive position, you have to come and be soft-hearted. And you have to meet people where they are. And you have to work from the middle. And the next question, I manage, that would be my answer. I manage when I meet individuals with. And I try to understand that, one, I don't know what, so I, and that's very important, that question. So, how willing are you yourself to not be up front, to be within the midst, manage, and get the ideas to their philosophy coming in as a member. Openly, I truly believe that having an open door policy establishes a groundwork for a working relationship.
Thank you so much.
Have you experienced in all areas of government have not had a certain fields, and how would your management in these areas?
Bad, I haven't been a city manager. No, I haven't had in every area of local government. I think, well, one of the learning curves at the end, as a manager was I'm a perfectionist and a lot of hats for the city of Fort Lauderdale, community relations. But I haven't had the opportunity to really to the personnel management on a large scale. Manage, numerous individuals. Of course, in my career, talk about local government, the aspects I have not attained on a larger scale. I think a weakness for me that I haven't had a relationship with performance management with job description. I'm speaking back that later. There's a question for managing people. But all of the external government, because I haven't been a manager, there are some as a student. So there'll be a small there. But I strongly, my skills and my experience is super. Any of those areas that I have not the opportunity to encounter. However, again, is one of those learning curves I would have to concentrate on coming into city management.
Go about assessing and weaknesses of the patient and identifying which is to improve. So it's
Well, governments, all local governments, we address that through a strength and weak and opportunities and threats process. Coming on as a city manager, first to understand what are our weaknesses, what opportunities we have, and what threatens them as a city. I think that you can leverage access through one of your local, or you can contract it out to do that. We have the foundation SWAT currently, but that would be the first aspect, and the weakness that we have and the strengths that we have is to implement a SWAT.
To what extent do you contact with citizens, and citizens are important? You typically handle responsibility.
In local government, the most important aspect is understanding the needs and wants of citizens. I truly believe that we are only as the day that we address the issue for those who these positions. Those are the residents of Pahokee. They entrust in us to understand what their wants are. And going back to having policy is very important. That we establish relations. Every part of this community is important. Have those open forums. The most important aspect of the community is listening to that live there, that have invested in zones. Communities that need better infrastructure and access. When you talk community and when you discuss government, the most important is listening to the people.
What are your thoughts with respect to formation? What process do you follow to set objectives and monitor performance?
I had the opportunity to be the next city manager. My that is performance management, quality management actually. Managing a city manager is first look at description, you must see job description to perform management plan. That's how you manage. Typically, 60 days. So my approach would first to understanding everything from department head on down to understand job description, link that to a performance management plan. Then we can start job description management, because there are outcomes eventually that we have to adhere to at the end. And at the end raises motions, reorganization. So for my approach with job description and performance.
From your vantage point, what do you believe to be the challenges and opportunities our organizational, and how is it to change in the future?
Several challenges. One of our challenges is infrastructure. We need to repair our roads. We need to look at Pahokee. Another large unemployment. We need to that quality of workforce. That unemployment will remain. How do we address that? Are there technical schools in the area? Are we bringing in the right organization that can apply the current work to? So our challenge again with infrastructure, how do we address an unemployment rate and keep again Pahokee in the forefront as far as the enterprise, keeping Pahokee at the conversation in Tallahassee. Our challenges. Beyond that, locally, specifically community-wide, housing, appropriate housing, building communities of choice. I will always, when I talk about local government, is communities of choice. Do we have families move to Pahokee? That's the conversation. Is building communities a city of choice? Investment, relocation, choice for jobs, choice and communities of choice. We have a hurdle to establish that in Pahokee. Those are the challenges.
Okay, well then how is it likely to change in the future? Can you change if you are elected manager? Selected out there.
Let me reiterate. Community of choice and city of choice can only if we become very honest in our approach to the foundation changes our current. We're a very small city, very small city, think very small, not a negative. However, we must become uncomfortable. That's how you have to become very comfortable where we are currently. You become comfortable, you become stagnant. How does that change? Feel that first, we have to believe in it. We're local, we need to start partnering. County. We need to be acceptable to the nation. We have to understand the mission of Lord, understand the chamber of understand where we are. Open to the conversation of find what we are hoping. Let's be. That change can don't become very open to other ideas in this chamber. research and my knowledge recently, that was the main theme, is we need to become to get global in our approach to what we expect. I understand very well Palm Beach County want this region. And are we ready to accept those conversations to make? Are we becoming comfortable with what we traditionally used to doing and what we need to do to make that change? And again, I'll go back to economic development, and I'm going to go back to one of my first issues, branding. We have a brand. Is that brand? We have a clear message, that's new business. Those companies that will bring those jobs that can address the ready workforce that prepare for those jobs. Honest conversation. Talking about change. Since the residents that are sitting behind been here for probably decades. A lot of changing faces, ship position. The city hasn't changed. So we have to do something different. And we have to be very honest about where we are as a city manager. And that's the community wants change. They don't care how it comes. And we shouldn't care who's in the front leading. Those are for Palm Beach County, the four cities, Palm Beach delegation, work up to Tallahassee. Yeah, change. Go beyond philosophy of where we've been for the last years. If you want change, it's a hard road that you have to invest in. Can't invest in it until you get very about where we are currently. We can't close opportunities that are being offered to us. Actually, do not sit in a hole. When I become the city manager, I'll be here in the city, but I guarantee you, I'll leave Tallahassee, to Palm Beach County, that delegation. We'll be to the Lord, we'll be to the Earth, we'll be to the Business Development Board to understand mission and what it is mission for. And how do you include us in the vision? Until we're comfortable and have those conversations, no change.
What particulars do you have with respect to budget preparation? Give examples of address cost reduction in the most recent issue you have.
This is clear for Lauderdale. I am Department of Community Relations and small budget, but we had a lot of budget amendments we had to address. It's probably what $2.5 million that I was for, and that gets personnel contracting costs and so forth. I've been director of community relations. I've learned that the less you spend, the more difficult to figure out where that money went. It's kind of abstract. With the budgets that I were responsible, went into the red or black. So, second part of your question first. When I was a community relations center for a lot of it, one thing I noticed was the cost of contracted services, typically office supplies. And within my department, several other departments, and the department had, after my review, each department and sub-department had their office contract. And within those, would purchase similar items, pens, paper, you know, there were different costs based on that need. I figured out that out of those 4, we were just being gouged. As I canceled contract for all the departments, consolidated that one office supply contract, $150,000 in office supply. And we should have been called by, I don't know, I can't remember, but once I did that, and it's the effect, all the departments went back, and they realized that there was individual contracts for office supplies, and this vendor was charging prices for the same item. So all our contracts and consolidated those into 3 contracts for the agency. Overall, we say about $350,000. If I become the city manager, first step is to look at contracts. Do we have a dual system? Are we overpaying for the products within? And is it different in another department? Is it the same or are they different? Typically, if you look closely, 10 cents off, but they're not the same. You have to address those because that difference over the course of a year. I think coming as a new city to look at also analysis of what's happening, vending and contracting, and how do we consolidate some of those services.
Thank you. Well, how do you view the relationship between the mayor and the city commission? How do you view your relationship with department heads and staff?
To read the city charter 2.06 and section 3.04 specifically spells out responsibilities. City specifically detail responsibilities as a committee. That's still being adhered to based on those statutes. And realizing this position, I don't believe in my me as the city manager. Let me operate the city. Respect our charter. And do we have a review committee? Your charter. Charter says every 5 years. Recommendations. So in the aspects of my relationship as city manager, let me manage. That vision for you. As far as how I view, here to serve you. I'm here to serve this. I need to understand you need to articulate vision to me. That vision to each department. That's built together. That's antiquated image. That step back, in view of where we want to be in 5 years. How's it looking in 5 years? In 5 years. You have to be able to know you individually. I cannot build this city for you. And forward to build your without first understanding where we are, what this charter to do as a collective body. I see that the city manager that you hire, you're going to give him that opportunity. That opportunity to build that vision for you. And you're going to find what else is necessary to make a city of choice.
Your answer to the second.
I'm sorry.
Second part of the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he have the, questions before you?
No, he doesn't.
How do you view your relationship with department heads and government staff?
Okay. When I was working with Lauderdale, I worked with the title of department head. One of the most parts of municipal government is having everybody on the same page. So my approach to that is to, again, have an open listen to the directors and have a dialogue with their department is challenges that they have. And those could be personnel, it could be
Just a second.
thank you. It could be personnel. We need to hire. It could be we need to terminate. But as far as my relationship with department heads, that needs to be a very open door policy. Well, talking about any conversation, the difficulties that we have in managing the department. Department heads that don't believe in your vision and can't be a objective manager. Does that work against you? I mean, a middle out manager, middle out, meeting people where they are. Meet department heads where they are. Have all the answers. If we coming in as a new manager, department heads more than you think they know. So you have to make them in conversation. You have to make them to some of your problems. It's a secret to a new job. I strongly believe that department heads should be leading. They should be with some of the solutions that they may be looking for. But as they coming in, I can't see. Because they've been longer than I have. And they may feel some solutions may work, but then they're doing it. Maybe the manager wasn't open to those ideas.
All right, thank you very much. Will your first steps be assuming responsibilities that you hope to accomplish in this year?
Given the opportunity as city manager, the step I want to have it for him. I need an audit because I want to know where we are fiscally as a city. I want to know, on hand, fiscal responsibilities for each of them. And how valid it is for the remainder. That'll be my first request from this commission for this audit. Beyond, I would like to meet with everybody, individually and collectively. And for every facility that we have, understand each mission, every department, hiring needs, or we staff, how do we address that? But first, I'd like to understand the mission and vision of this mission. What are my marks? What want me to do first? Personally, I would want a forensic audit. I think that's fair. Probably needed to be understand where we need to go and how I need to approach on the operations of the city. That's a fair assessment.
Yes, Mr. Williamson.
Okay, Mr. Williams. How does your experience apply you for this position?
We have some candidates that were coming being dealt with. Respond very similar to your questions. I've had the opportunity to work with several city and state level to address. So I understand what the city is experiencing right now. And economic. Those relationships that are already that I've reestablished in the last 21 days, stand hokey, should be taken advantage of the residents of the city. When you ask about some of that experience to come from commitment to anything above your own personal endeavors. A personal gain to manage to do something else, to look for to the residents of Lauderdale, which I have with the lower board, my current partner, PDB, relationship with Palm Beach County delegation, my current partnership, the director of government activities for funding can be leveraged for the city of Pahokee. Let me get back to commitment for a moment. All those aspects that I have in my wheelhouse, in my culture, can be a great benefit for the city of Pahokee. But you have to have the willingness of people beyond your own perception. What I mean by that, you have to give yourself for the betterment of without any reward. That's what I believe in when I talk about public and municipal government. Because the experiences that I've had over the last years have built a philosophy that I'm no better than the individual that I represent and that I work with. I'm here to serve them. I'm willing to give up my experience in these partnerships to make the city of Pahokee a city. And those partners I currently have with organizations are great for this city, economically, culturally, and community-wise. Building a place.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williamson, asked by a commissioner to do something unethical. How would you hit it?
Wouldn't happen. The reason is strongly believe strongest skill set, ethical behavior. Integrity is all you have. But your integrity is what you do when no one's looking. My definition. That's the definition of everyone's integrity. What you do when no one's looking. I can't engage in ethical behavior because it goes against the morals of those who are the residents of Pahokee. Those who, for me, to make the right decision, then I believe in unethical behavior. And I believe you have to manage it with transparency and a high regard to.
And this says commissioner, but that goes for anyone, you know.
Yes.
Thank you.
Technically, we have to be most successful assisting local government issues with establishing implementing long and stretch goals for the community.
Let me go back to getting very honest as a collective team. In helping local government, first I thought leaving, what is the strategic approach that we meant to get level? In building up and helping local government, you have to have a clear vision of what we are, what their strengths are, trusting that their approach, their methodology may not be. It has to be established. Establish that foundation. Okay. What and who do we go to get those solutions? Is it Palm Beach County, County Chamber of Commerce? Is it Palm Beach Delegation? Is it Tallahassee funding streams and a process I know very well for local funding to vaccines? Is it understanding Laura wants to visit South Bay, Governor Hope? But most important, understand the vision that you want first. And we have to understand what it is. Then we can have the discussion of short-term and long-term. Opportunity to read over this plan for Hope over the last couple of days. No, a comprehensive plan is long. It's 15 and 5 years. Now, sentiments that have gone along with that comprehensive. Right now, we could cut the comprehensive plan in half. Well, I would consider any plan. It's 5 years. There'll be another state coming in as a city manager. Only a 2020 plan. 5. Within that 5 years, I need to adjust highways, water. I need to adjust the educational system for preparing our community to enter the workforce. I need to understand of the companies that went to this region. I need BDD and under OEO who they're discussing this region. And finally, I need to go have an open forum with the Pahokee. That's the year 2020 plan. Those are the aspects that I approach and present commission. Short range, but we have to understand immediate 2020 plan would encompass the comprehensive plan, 5-year plan. I strongly believe we need to come back and look at where we want to be within that 2020 plan, addressing all of those aspects. The city of Pahokee, economic investment, those different that I discussed earlier. Let's talk about a plan for the next 5 years. Let's not talk about 25 years. We have issues today. And so we need to be strategic where we want to be this year, the year after, and the year after. Let's do it in 5 years. Let's start with infrastructure. Start with understanding our appropriations for local government. Understanding our local bill process to Tallahassee and how those funds come to Pahokee. You have to understand that process. I understand it very well. We have to know how to leverage our in this region. We have a very, very deep opportunity. Some of the most tapped land in the state of Florida. That's an advantage for Pahokee. And again, we have to keep that conversation in front of our lawmakers in Tallahassee. We have to keep that conversation in the forefront of the business board. But we're foundation first. We are ready to accept economic opportunity. Our communities, our crime rate, our educational rate, and the workforce that's ready and the opportunities that's going to be presented. Let's talk about a 2020 plan up here in those aspects.
Have you had working on governmental or institutional basis? Have you worked direct state and federal government, commission government, and other unit of government?
Several years, I've had the opportunity, extensive research in intergovernmental university. I've been some national intergovernmental, particularly healthcare. Most of my research around the state of Florida. As you heard earlier, I had the opportunity to work in state and local. I've worked in Florida, both in Broward and Palm. I've had the opportunity of federal funding when it came to the individual programs of Palm Beach and Broward. The opportunity to work extensively with those senators and representatives, identify the needs of more specific. I've had the opportunity to craft some of that legislation, some of those funding response requests for the local government. Those experiences and that knowledge that I would share for the city of Pahokee. Working with managers, the local delegation provided me a unique opportunity in Pahokee, a unique opportunity to engage in a process. It's not for larger cities, but it's an opportunity for Pahokee. It's an I strongly feel that we should take my knowledge and my access to the right here in social and education as well here in the city of Pahokee.
Thank you again. My final question, we're coming in now. You can almost start to relax. How describe your management style?
I believe in managing well. I don't think with a heavy hand. You can understand the dynamics of each department, each head, every staff. That includes understanding the performance they are today. Last year, we expect them to be next 3 years. They're coming in and bringing the furniture, as they say. I strongly believe coming in and understanding the current staff that we have. Commissioner Hill, description, and performance management. Now, in there, what I do is look at description, look at performance management, our weaknesses, but we have gaps. Build what we call a PIP, improvement plan. Performance improvement plan works as you establish a performance plan. If there's a weakness, you meet with that department. In 30 days, you do a follow-up. Beyond that, there's some type of personal action. You just look at warnings, verbal warnings, and then sometimes you need to reassess or recalibrate. And you have that staff in the wrong position. So as far as the management style, as a new city manager, I need you from the middle out, meeting people, understanding the current environment first before making change. Answering all the questions. Because coming in, I don't have all the answers in here. As far as the staff have been here a little longer than I, they may have some solutions to investigate some of the solutions that they may have in mind for workforce from a line staff standpoint. I believe in managing from the middle. I heavy-handed manager, but I do require that we work understanding that we serve the people for hope, and those services quality and quantity. And sometimes the quality and quantity may not include the current staff. You may have to make change. Change needs to be for the name that are meeting individuals where they are first to make those decisions made.
Thank you very much.
If you are selected on this interview to move forward process, he was to do an extensive background. Is there anything you're aware of?
It's what?
Oh.
I'll speak. And I, undergrad, used to race cars. Fortunately, it doesn't bode well for you these days when you get older. He's back on it over the last several years, so you might out there. That's about it. You can stand a little heavy footing with. I've learned my lesson from that. Mostly from one state to the next. In Georgia, they have a different concept. Speed and Georgia that I've never explored. So I can say the last. I've learned my lesson. You find a heavy foot out all out there somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Williamson, that's it. The formal questions, commissioners, if there are any questions that you would like to ask Mr. Williamson, the formal questions, time, if you would like. Pleasure.
We are yours. What do you think? What trying to live? Not beating you up, just want to.
Good question, Commissioner.
That's an excellent question. Most cities require manager to live within confines of city limits, and I think that's his job. No one relocate, more than myself, and of course I have to look at the strategic for his job, travel, spouse. I think the previous years I had search committee and some housing. Jason Pahokee is not acceptable. I do realize how it is to be a part of this. So if you don't have to do the right thing for hope, I would have to engage my level here, participate in outside activities that are working on not. That's important to that face of the community. I don't have the opportunity to. I'm very aware that I would have to go beyond the day-to-day to establish that relationship with the community. Because I think, even though it's a community, it's a family community, and a city. I would have to be in that respect if I decided to live in Pahokee. And so a little extra, maybe some weekend work beyond the 9 to establish those relationship community, to be comfortable with who I am, and what my commitment to them are, even without living in them. So I'm not going to live yet, but several community as close to Pahokee as do again spouse transfer. To work, but I realize coming in as a new center, you have to establish that don't live here. And it's a delicate situation when you don't live in the city, yet you work when you manage the operations of that. Sometimes there may be a disconnect, residents and you feel that you're not a part of that because you don't live there. So you're very delicate with that situation. You have to foster that relationships where everyone, okay, he may or she may be here, but he cares here beyond 9 to 5. And he's here and has an open. And so we're mindful of that. If I have the opportunity to be city manager, then if I don't live in the city limits, I would have those relationships beyond the 9 to 5 to make comfortable with the new city manager.
Just fill a little on the resume. The last job listed is 2010. What have you been doing from 10 to 2015?
I had the opportunity to locate the Atlanta region. Primary purposes was my PhD. For several years, extensively finishing up the in public administration, specifically concentration in local government. Over the course of it, I've been involved myself in research for the university and governmental relations. I advocate for small projects for the presentations at national institutes pertaining to relations. I want to remain, even though I didn't go back and forth. I took that opportunity not to go back into the workforce because I wanted to go back to understanding academics versus action on local. And I think an opportunity to find knowledge of the government is a benefit for the city of Pahokee. He engaged himself in national organizations as well to understand some of the trend models for local management. And asked by a clearinghouse for modules in local government. So I involved in those organizations as I complete my PhD. I believe some of the trends that I have local government that we can bring and improve our system of operations, specifically on how to say not like this being wrong currently, but there's trends out there that I think that we can explore collectively as a team, as a city manager, that I can the city of Pahokee innovative for a global approach to local government management. I've been up to for the last 3 to 4 years in those conversations and research to understand simply what if I had an opportunity to sit mission and explore becoming a city manager. Particularly, there's some that I have that I went back in to the city of Pahokee that across the nation and local government that I think will help us deeply to become a better city, become a city of choice and choice.
Mr. Williamson, I think you did an admirable job here today. The commission have no other questions of you. Do you have questions of it?
I realize I had some issues here, particularly with the manager, and my first question is what your expectations for the next that you have here, and the process of city manager was released, separated from for the new incoming city manager, specifically for me, for the city.
Perspective, I think others could probably give you their perspective. My perspective was to see our next city manager is to come in on, as you've stated, the development of our city. Not only from the infrastructure, but mention from our citizens to make sure that they're ready the changes that's getting ready to tear in Pahokee. So that would be my short-term vision. Long-term, I would be a city manager that can grow the city of, as you've stated before, the city of Pahokee. There's a big world out here. In my experience as being a resident of this is a community that blesses the world. A lot of them from here, and they go out into become very, very successful. What I would love to see us do is to bless our home. I would love to pull from the resources out there in the world, be a place of choice, a place of destination. So that's my vision. To see Commission would like to share.
No. I Mayor, and I also would like to say that I'd like to see someone coming ready to work and share your expertise as about trying to, because you can't do it by yourself, you've already stated, and come aboard with you to make sure that we are all on accord and in mindset as to go. So I love love your concept of what is of this commission. If we don't have a vision, the city perishes. So I'm willing to get on board with the commission and we get it right, so that the next manager here won't have such a hassle. And that at the end of the citizens will be happy. And that's what we're all about. Thank you.
Any other like to address? Question, Mr. Williamson?
That was, I just want to get a clear vision of what you're expecting for the next city. Again, I've done some research on the aspect where we are demographically, economically. And I think we have some here that we can, I feel that my experience in polio, local state government, even federal government, something I didn't talk with Senator Representative Alcee Hastings. I think we can leverage both the state and federal resources that are available. Partnerships. I hope you city choice. Mentioning choice because go back to you have a lot of visitors. Not retaining those visitors. Down Main Street here is that what we call Main Street for the city of Pahokee. Opportunity here. This is a gorgeous city. And it transcends Palm Beach when it comes to Pahokee. It's marvelous aeronautical development. And we should be one of those cities in Florida that everyone's talking about. It should be a destination for ecotourism in the state of Florida. I just don't want to see that go to any longer. I'm going to waste before. There are a lot of dynamics that we infuse into the, and there are a lot of partners that are willing to come to this commission if we're thinking globally, if we're uncomfortable with how to do and look at solutions. We may have that are not achievable, or what we feel is if you're not for the not for us, that's not true. For my engagement research and for my conversation with organizations and that have in Pahokee region, they're ready and they're for those discussions. We'll be ready, and we have to be plain and honest about where we are as a commission, as a team manager, as residents. Expect more, expect less, and we will get nothing in. It's important that Felixia speaks about integrity. I strongly believe in ethics. The only way we can achieve this discuss each day that we lead with integrity. No one should be looking for the next thing for our own self-gratification. Let me say this, and when you talk about yourself, you have to talk about what you to do for someone's livelihood. You have to talk about what as far as life is concerned. Are you willing to war with yourself? The life of someone else's livelihood. There's a story several years ago, right here in Delray Beach. He war with himself a day to save no regard. But he gave more of himself over strangers. And these residents are strangers. Until he gave more of himself that day to save the life of the boy. This result, he had 25 different broken fractures. He had a strike for 2 months. He had metal plates inserted in cheeks that are still there. But he gave himself that day to save someone else's life. Now you may find 50 others that will come in this room and interview, and they probably will not get that life of pain. So for rehabilitation, talking, learning how to eat again. That's what that man went through. He wanted, or he felt, protecting someone else's life was important than worrying about his own education. That young man, 3 different countries, just to look back at a former look at himself. Mercedes was fairly from down. But he put himself that day because he cared for a stranger. Represent resident city that expect more of themselves. We give more of ourselves. I worry about self-identification. Commitment. 7 years since I had that accident. Been steady still. This is another 7 years ago. I gave more of myself that day about someone else. You don't find individuals like that. When you do, you have to take a commitment to people. Commitment to the city of Pahokee. Giving more of myself through the pain and getting uncomfortable walk. That's important. So next city manager, you have on just what it says. Through them and look at the vision, commitment for others. And you're an individual like that. You hire that individual. You have an opportunity to lead your city and to build your vision.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you for giving up your. Commissioner, you have any questions?
You made several times that the commission had ready to work and work outside support, and you named several entities. What has been the impression that we are not willing to build relationships or that's a question.
I don't think the impression that you're not to be open. What I have is the opportunity at your work over the last 7 years. And I would be naive to not say do a better job. I would be naive. You've done all the right. I have to be very open about that and hold it that. There are opportunities in Palm Beach County that are not embraced. There are opportunities that this city has not, because maybe we are afraid of them. Maybe we feel that our local processes, that those who are here can figure out Pahokee, and that's simply, there's a role here as Mayor said, we need to be both thinkers. We have to be a thinker. And those regional things not reside in the city of Pahokee. Those are cities not reside in the city of Pahokee. Those opportunities reside in the city of Pahokee. Reside in Palm Beach Chamber. The appropriation brings funding back to local. It resides lower. It resides in the BDP. It resides in those relationships. Open to allow them in and show us the way. And I don't think that this committee is open. I strongly feel we investigated opportunities at the high level. I strongly feel through direct conversation that we have not engaged. Now, Mayor Walker has been at some of the meetings in Palm Beach County. I got that. Who's keeping an eye on Pahokee. He has come to other entities in local government. The decisions for Pahokee in this region. We have that before. So, saying you're not open, what I'm we have not investigated those at the highest level, are not engaged, strategically. We have to force the conversation. I think we can force the conversation strategically. Realize micros that are currently established to make the city or whole city a choice.
But that would be even though we'll be working as a commission with you as manager, that would be your responsibility, manager, to engage in efforts.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Any other questions, Commission? Any other course, Mr. Williamson?
I think it was a great opportunity. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to discuss my vision. Thank partner again. City of Hope, City for this big state of Florida. Keep that in the forefront as we think about who we want to be more of ourselves and make the City of Hope the city of New York. I thank you for the bringing me in, so seeing you in another aspect here, and the team, it's a Hokie, and just I'm proud of the work here in the future.
Thank you very much once again.
I just want to say thank you so much for that question. It shed light on concerns that I would just say me because I understood, and I'm sure some of the too, but it clarified, and based on what you said, charter, bringing forth the charter we did that policy makers, but you're administrator for this city, follow your lead in the decision that you made bring forth to this commission. Did that make sense?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Please.
It's out of our organization.
Mr. Williamson, I think for not responding right, because there's a good thing to know that I have not, but I did talk to people who came from, so I'm blessed to know that. First time talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And I called to welcome to let you know to see you today. I did not get her phone call, so I'm not just whatever you did.
Well, I just want to thank the process. So I delivered the option between the calls. So I hope that doesn't make you feel that but I wanted to hear about and have some transparency in the process. I think so. I apologize. Again, I'm going to leave the focus and that's where I start going. No fight to you tonight,
What the meeting, that's all.
Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Well, that you said nice things about nice to meet you, Robert.
Thank you. Hey, how you doing? How are you?
Chairs are uncomfortable. I wish you were right there. I'm not
That doesn't mean.
I heard some. Oh, the
You don't need to go.
Mandy up there? I'm looking, I'm coming.
I'll sit, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I hit the pause button.
Yep. Me too, I think. Yes.
You took up a sheet.
Huh? I put another sheet up there.
Pay off the one.
No, I
I think that was just, give us about 10
I just put a new one.
I guess.
I had to break.
All right. Yes.
I didn't ask her when to get.
Well, what are you doing?
Stealing candy.
So, bro? Yeah. It looks like it.
I took my off.
How are you? You lost? You found it? Okay.
What was the second interview?
It's going to be 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, I was thinking that when I was
For 20, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened?
I was going to ask you that, like staring at the table.
But then I picked it up when I realized they changes.
Because I saw it.
Yeah, it was there. Nothing?
The one there.
I should take a hot
Yeah, yes. Oh, being here.
Oh, yes.
Appreciate it.
Okay, you guys got to ask questions. You got to ask them faster. Either that or get through. Sure. The next word is next. Okay, Commissioner.
I guess I figured it was.
He went outside.
Please,
I'm just worried about a trip.
All right, commissioners, we're getting ready to bring our second interview in. Hopefully, opportunity as we were going through the Can you guys hear us better now? Hopefully you had an opportunity to score the interview going through the process. I'll give you minutes if you did not. So Washington, give us about 2 minutes to allow the commission to score the first interviewee.
Do we need to tally up?
You can just score and we'll check.
Yeah, let's start and pass it down.
Pencil down. Finish. Mr. Morris. All right. My apologies.
Not a problem, sir.
We're gonna have lunch.
If we are to have a hamburger with the
Recreation Department.
Commissioners? Today is Mr. Michael Jackson. City clerk, Mr. Nisha, interim city manager, Iverson. Commissioner, Mayor Wall. Vice Mayor Wall. Vice Mayor. Commissioner Biggs. We also have his wife, Ms. Jackson, in the audience. I took that explaining to him. So you can take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you very much, sir, for showing an interest in the city and wanting to help us to grow our. We are very, very encouraged. You are here. I want you to relax and, to the questions that's coming before you, your answers. That's your ability. And once again, we can encourage you. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, would anyone like to Jackson?
Yeah, we'll just have Mr. Jackson just give us history. We're pretty familiar, but just to get him comfortable in this dialogue with the community. Just going to give you an opportunity just to blur about yourself.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you this morning. I value that dream opportunity and the strength to have the ability to see consideration for the initiative. My name is Mike Jackson. Born and raised in communities, specifically South. And I reside now with my family. The only time that I've been from the area is gained a couple of reasons at both Trinity University. I have a Bachelor's of Political Science and a Master's of Administration. Graduation from high school, 1983. And shortly after graduating, I went on to start my college career. I knew for a fact at the community that I wanted to come work and be a part of it. I was enough to have parents and extended family that made it a goal to talk about the importance of giving back and help. So I was very fortunate and blessed in a way to obtain that. So it wasn't a question in my mind that I would come to the communities. When it was easy not to, for lack of a better term. It's probably one of our biggest challenges. In the Glades, we have a lot of issues, challenges that, in my opinion, are obtainable and corrected. But major things that we lose out on our youth off the college and we're able to come back. For obvious reasons, for special reasons of their own. So I call it biggest deficit is our capital building, human resources building is, just within the people all across the country that are working in different capacities that are doing things, value back in these communities. When I graduated from college, with a degree in political science, I went back to work in the area of science. But as you probably have a lot of opportunity there. So instead, I was ironically, the first teaching job was at Oregon High School back in 1988, and special education there. And after a year of teaching, I decided to go back to Tallahassee and obtain a master's without mind that surely if I had a master's, find a job in my field. That didn't pay. So I continued to teach at about 7+ years at Ellen School at West Tech Educational Center. Professor at Bethune-Cookman during that time. Shortly working at Lakeshore, I began to look at ways how I can community and how I can help the community. And I looked at it as a way of helping the community by embarking in parts of education, working with families and community from the education center. I'll do more. I was challenged. So back in 1992, I ran for office and was elected as the commissioner. In 1992, I ran, was unopposed the second term and won, and sat 2 terms as the city of South Bay. At the very my last term, is without a city manager. The existence city committee recommended that I the city manager. Again, this is now an opportunity to work in my field. So I took it as an opportunity, initially asked to do so. I resigned. I think I had a month left on the commission. We had gone through rounds of commission interviews, really panning out for the community. So after the first, second, third round of interviews, I resigned from the commission with about a month left on my term. I successfully became the city manager in 2001. I say all of that to say that I'm from the community, always worked and been a part of my desire or to continue to do that, and was fortunate enough to be, was blessed enough to be given purpose early on, and that purpose was clearly that I was in my position to help people. Opportunity that I've had my professional and civic life, I've tried to do just that. And with this position, I look to do that.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Any other questions? Since Mr. Jackson, we're going to go into the process of the interview, sir. Thank you very much. Once we start with Commissioner.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson. Thank you so much for finding your desire for this city. My first question is, describe the experience you have had in retaining business or attracting.
Different experiences in you, but I will speak quickly about while in the city commission. Almost overnight, we and South closed their doors. I think this was time that we learned maybe 2 weeks prior to the largest employer in the city at the time was closing, and they cited that had to do with not being able to keep up milling with what some of the demands of the federal government in the state. But the largest business employment, it was also water and sewer for the city of South Bay. So we were in a very critical situation. So along with Marianne, the other started. And the selection process, it was a selection process in Florida. Each community would have to apply the next correctional built in every community because deemed an economic development opportunity for cities from the state. So for a fair process, a very competitive one for rural communities in the state. So we met the governor, lieutenant governor, and impressed upon them of having jobs come to South Bay. Now, with correlity in small communities, some people didn't value it as something that was needed unless it was one of those NIMBY projects in my backyard. Understood the complexity of that. Also understood from a value point. We did not do something immediately and assume that we would be in a position probably losing our charter because not keep up fiscally in the city. One favor through the legislature and also from the governor's office. Instead of the next city in line, the correctional facility, it was put in front of the line, and we were able to receive everything needed to build the facility. After asking, and it's still there. It's some of the things that we asked was to make sure that we had specific set aside for those that in South Bay. We process with work that developed programs at the city of Birmingham and being in a position to have where that law doing the layoff, the first choice at the beginning of trying recertification. And we just needed to find themselves employable. So I served a major part in attracting that, and with that attraction, we were to develop new jobs in the community, middle to high paying jobs that most people are now working, have been working at for some years now. So I would use that as for your question.
Thank you very much.
Okay, second question is, what is the best candidate for the job? What unique qualities possess that make you stand above the other applicants?
I got the best candidate for the job because I received the quality educational needs and necessary to perform. I consider myself scientist and also a public trader. And those areas are bold what type of work is needed to be a manager. With my 23 years in local government, that 23-year period I've amassed this amount of experience in every area of city government, whether it's fiscally or development, or developing youth, or working with nonprofit organizations. But my most important, I would think, my most important quality is that I'm a team player. I encourage people to find the best in their abilities as employees. I've been in a tremendous amount of senior positions and in every opportunity I've been able to win the praise and the admiration of people that were under my direction. So I was very, very necessary needs that a city manager has.
Mr. Johnson. Next question. In our city, would you ever find more than economic development?
I think my concentration would be, I think it's nothing that's probably odd, but I really value, believe that is probably one natural aspects of it could promote development. Let me explain. Okeechobee is the diamond in the rough, without a term. And I see the whole out of all three cities, better position in terms of their location into the lake. Now, you understand, I have a assisting with the Corps of Engineers, State of Florida, and South Florida District as it relates to them along the lake. But I have suggestions that I think would probably go a long way in the Corps, some of its requirements, asking for an exemption to economic development or even in and around the lake. We all know that there's a time period that can happen until the lake renovations are done. I believe that we have a case in the Pahokee that's very, and I think if we met with the right people in the federal government, that a waiver could obtain based on some of the issues and challenges that with unemployment issues. Really focus on dredging, if not a complete dredge, to a portion of the dredge that will allow other vessels to come in, take advantage of the beautiful that's already here and owned by the city. That's one side of it. I think the other side of it, the lake, is to better include the local residents in that process. The amenities are there, they're in place, but I have saying that I've not seen a full request in how we can engage local residents and maximize them out there at the marina. And we'll give one. I would encourage the federal government opportunity of micro grants to local residents, businesses that has an economic development. We've seen this work out the states during President Clinton's term. It's happening throughout others as it relates to encouraging others to become economically stable. And I think there's an opportunity here in Pahokee to do just that. And that will work by developing training programs, developing economic loan for a period of time, people in a position to be able to operate their own businesses. And whether that's done or through a cooperative, that will allow a lot of limitations on a lot of the residents here and some other issues. It will allow them to, probably for the first time in their history, their family situations, an opportunity to become entrepreneurs. I think we're missing out on an opportunity. Will it be easy to do? No. Is there to do? I think so. In that way, we can begin to build our own destinies as to the upper mobility of people in our community. So I really believe that the lake is an opportunity. I think have people personally in the city and in the area benefit from that. We have very people, but what often we run into is that we have the quote-unquote certification of certified people. We have mechanics that fix anything, but they're not certified, which means barrier to the positions that they can and develop opportunities in terms of we've had that's fishing, and men is just a term. I know some ladies are most men in Pahokee that can develop economic opportunity. We have anglers here, people that repair. We have opportunities for canoe companies to come locate. So that's a vast amount of economic opportunity. But I think we lose opportunities. We don't. The comprehensive community, not just concentrate on one versus the other.
Thank you very much. Using experiences, explain the philosophy of budget management. How often do you review budget monitoring reports? How often are such reports provided by line managers, senior staff, and elected? This is a three-part question. So I'll
I'll take it at the time if it's okay. My past experience in my overall philosophy of budget management, one that's centered around fiscal budget. That primarily means that you do it in the year prior to, based on activity previous year. So budget projections, department head, a realistic approach to government. I'm not the zero based, but if there's an opportunity, just say for in your this department as an example, in your public works department, for lack of a better term, you're budgeting $300 in your overall budget, and after looking at yours and line items, you continue to budget every year, and you know item what has not been used, percent of that line item hasn't been used in 5 years. There's a need to. So I'm real stickler in presenting a budget as it first and foremost, making sure that the changes with those budgets are something that's considered. So how often do I review budget reports? In my past experience, both as a director of management district and also City of South Bay and personally with my own company, constantly review. So every I want to make sure that I'm staying as I can in line with those areas. If there's a need to adjustments, I'm not too eager to really bear as witness. How often are set reports with line managers? As often as I see them, make sure that line managers and staff officials are given that emphasis quick as I receive it. And the reason being is that make sure that the total team aware of everything that's happened physically within the city. So if I'm in the position of making an administrative point and I'm responsible for the future of the city, I can't do that alone. I have cooperation from officials and senior staff as well.
Very much, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, Mr. Jackson. Please share with us, in general, in the experiences that will assist selected as our city manager.
Okay. As I mentioned a minute ago, I have amassed a total of 3+ years in law, and that's uniquely, because at the time I'm not sure how unique, now serving as a city and also a city manager with the same city. I think it's only 3 other people in the country done that. So I fully understand the policy job that go along with it, but also fully understand the application carrying out those policies as a city manager. And all of my I would even say job as a teacher in different capacities has provided me experiences in doing that. But I'll talk to you about my experiences. Former city manager in South Bay in a capacity similar to this position in a council manager form of government. And in that government, I clearly understood home rule, importance of having home rule in play communities. I fully understand the need, the challenges and go along with making sure the city is run fiscally responsibly, and that it takes a community in order to have a functioning city. We all can be proud of, understand the need to engage organizations and business. developing partnerships to make sure that we're hitting opportunity possible, bring growth and bring to the city. South Bay, the city manager, I was responsible, just like the position here is responsible for the budget, for carrying out the daily activities. I total of 6 years. That experience is each time of applying for a position. I also director for the Broward Alpha Water Management District. And in that position, chief is responsible for engaging all the city and municipalities, especially in Broward County, and fully understanding functions and operations of the South Management District. Broward Water Management District is the largest of 5 management districts in the state of Florida, and I directed one of their regions. I was looking for a multi-million budget, professional staff, which included nurse planners and other managers. I worked in that for 3 years, and I got in the city manager's position, evaluating me for each one of those positions. Also, in our management district, it gave me an opportunity to get a better appreciation of larger governmental entity, the reasons why I wanted to work in that capacity. That would give me understanding how state works with cities and municipalities. My first has been local government, understanding and appreciation of the relationships between cities and city government. I think getting a lot of and understanding how I can better as a local elected official or a city manager. I started my own consulting company and concentrate on jobs, business startups, training individuals, all very, very important in working as a city manager. I also, under a separate contract, a 3-year period with Palm Beach County Commission, served as the liaison to the Glades area, included South Bay, Belle Glade, and an unincorporated. I worked very closely with Canal Point at the time as well. And in that position, I basically tasked responsibility of working with those cities on all county-related projects on their books at the time. I think that was from 2000 to 2010. And I was given the ability to be creative with the local governments, city managers for each whole entire time period. That during that time period, record in saying this, and I think it's accurate, but if not, I'll retract, but I'm accurate here in the city of Portland. The same thing happened in South Bay, the city of Delaware. That was the most progressive of the city's history during those three-year periods of working in the county commission for those projects. Tremendous amounts that were laid in all 3 cities that had been used for periods of time to redirect those on specific projects at the time. More importantly, at the time, it was refunding water lines and hydrants and doing things that get the 3 cities in a position to be able to go into the regional water plant. So all monies were redirected in those areas. We were sitting now. I was responsible with staff and working with your commission on making sure dollars were available to renovate this facility, to renovate work, provide a fund for the gymnasium. So we were able to get funds in place to do street improvements. And most of those dollars are structural development that would give the city, equally the city of Pahokee, and available opportunities to position themselves from an infrastructure standpoint, place to receive turnover. So all of those experiences collectively, I really believe gives me an opportunity to review and understand I'm suited to work on the city of Pahokee manager.
Jackson, what is important to you in establishing working relations?
It's very important, first and foremost, to be honest, to develop work ethic that's to staff, but also make sure that you put in place as a commission are carried out in an effective way. I really that and thrown around, but I really believe that we're, as an organization, is the weakest person. Organization, and weak is a relative term. I'm very, very focused on opportunities and areas developed by training. There's a tremendous amount of training, since those trainings in the past. For the league of cities, to the government, to be able to put staff into understand their jobs first and foremost, and to make sure that they have a satisfactory and successful in those. Now, once that happens, develop a leadership that's my managing in terms of employees pretty much as a consultative and process. Into process is basically that their employees, you include them, and you ask for it, makes the organization stronger. So I really, really believe it as a management as it relates to employees. So I'm going to make sure that employees are safe, that they're happy in their job, and with those things being in place, it creates an environment that's good and one that goes even furthering for the betterment of the city. And these are all things in the past, so I have to and know that
He had experience in all areas of local government services. If you have not had in certain fields, how would you approach management in these areas?
Could you speak, question, if you ever had experience in all, what I mean is all areas of the work?
With staff, working with the mission, working with this departments, even in the community, relationship with the local. So there's a broad spectrum of inside and out local government.
Yes, sir. I've been fortunate to do that throughout my professional career. One of the things that while in Spain was I did a part of the day every week for the community to come in and meet with me an issue. What I can call in an open door for the community. Wednesday for a couple hours I was available. I carved that time, made myself available to address. And when communities didn't come in, I used that time to go to the community. Now that was not that I went out, but that was the time that I went out to make sure hearing from the community. And I hear a lot of the things that you probably church and in the growers and some of the other places that you, when you're out with these. I took that upon myself because if I felt that if I had the heart was going inform you and better help you ready for possible policies that may have an overall more people that's make money. So I was very, very handy. I had a very strong community outreach of my work. I shouldn't enough considered as being as fortunate. But I was fortunate enough being the city manager for and was also the acting chief, because we have police chief at the time resigned was trying to find another one. So for a half I on the responsibilities go around with the gun or anything, but administratively, payroll wise and other things, also before I think I hired police officers during that period of time. So I had a desire to look at going on in law enforcement. All the other cities I work hand with, I encourage out of from my department heads. I encourage people to work when they're at work, encourage them to be home when it's time to be home. Because I really consider that a well-rounded on Monday morning work with a smile on your face. So I encourage a lot of them that, well, when I was with the city, and I will briefly talk about the situation in South Bay that I would never was impactful in so many areas in all the fight city hall in South Bay, city manager at the time. And a situation occurred where an employee who was a welfare work program, she had volunteered in the program for a while and she approved worthy opportunity once it worked very, very well. And this was a real first opportunity in employment. The job became available in the paper. Obviously, I encouraged her to apply and she received the job. She worked well for 6 months. And I think I was coming back from me in Orlando. I received a call from that way back home and basically said all is on fire. What do you mean City Hall is on fire? Fire department is connected. It should be on fire. But what had happened, and this is how in tune I was at the time, even her for just 6 months. What had happened was how the program is, once she started working, all of the other benefits that historically used to, all of those went away. So there was no more assistance from government, which means that the first time she was a earner, an employee that earned and was the budget and make her and just found myself in a bad, she couldn't keep up. The big running behind things that she was used to wasn't there. So having access to where we kept my money, especially over the weekend, she with her key, and many of you probably don't even know how to. She went in with her key. She took money from the safe and she started what she considered fire to get the attention of the fire department that were not intended to now, but just to attract, for lack of a better term. So, long story short, fire marshal and all the aides basically came back to me. This is someone inside here. No one who works here would do that. He said, yes, sir. We did this for 20 plus years. This is something that happened inside. So I continue to meet and talk to staff and encourage to help with the rebuild, and came working, including her, every day early, stayed late, more than needed. She came to me, and in the back of my mind, thinking that, maybe this is it. I'm still thinking, no one is out, no one into this. So she came in and she meet me for a few minutes, and I said, bye. And she sat for me, basically said, Mr. Jackson, that person. She said, I knew what she was going to tell you, and I basically told her that I believe you, you know, what I did say, you know, people sometimes make bad choices, and that taught me a lesson. So many areas we had to go through a massive, we had to appeal to the state without an elevator and use money for legal cities. We had to use money to get everything up and running. Another whole different experience to the manager, but it's something that will stay and stick with me. It's always something that's good to have as an experience. So you can learn to relate with people differently, look at everything in the person and employees. Okay. So to answer your question, Commissioner Babb, a very amount of experience across the board in all areas. And also very programs through nonprofit. Through the city of South. I have a track record for a second area.
How will you go assessing the strength of this city and find opportunity to improve?
I would take the time necessary to assess the weaknesses, the opportunities, I should say. In my way of doing, to actively engage senior standards and lines with mission twos. I'll develop way of measuring, measurement tools to measure those areas. What people refer to as SWOT analysis. And over a period of time, I would come away with a baseline of those areas. And once those are identified, I would censure or make strong. I would bring initiatives to the specific weaknesses. And I'll continue opportunities to improve a combination of those things. I mentioned a minute ago, I think very key. So I would look at specific, depending on the organizational standpoint that we want to focus on here in the city. I really believe that people feel better about themselves once they have a clear understanding of what it is. And if we provide resources to get them there, come away with a valued employee or part of the team. Everyone benefits of that.
To what extent do you believe contacted citizens and citizen groups do you typically handle responsibility?
I think it's extremely important because the way I look at it, the citizen, neighborhoods and groups